Hello and welcome back to another episode of World of Warcraft Hardcore. My name is Syken and today we're continuing the series on the official servers of Stitches. It's time for Hinterlands. I did the Arathi quest off screen and today we're not having world buffs, so it's gonna be a bit of an interesting change of dynamics. I think going into this we're drinking a greater agility so that we do have some sort of buffs. That makes sense because we're going to kill quite a few enemies. Good news for Hinterlands is if you need food, as in raid food, this is a perfect place to start. I personally like to just to kill the wolves as well as the owlbears. Both drop resources for the highest level food. I think the spiders even that exist here are another great option for white spider meat. So that would be 3 different scenarios for plus 12 stamina food. It's not the best in the game, that would be Chimera shops, but it is near the very best. And specifically food from the wolves is very much helpful. So we're because you need less spices in order to create wolf steaks or whatever it's called, tender wolf wolf meat. So we are just going to have a go at the wolves whilst we're getting our wildkin feathers done. So it's easy, and we're not even having interruptions from the griffins because they are alliance factioned. And look at that, we got plenty of tender wolf meat. We're actually doing very well for ourselves. So that's quest number 1, getting those feathers on the ground. Quest number 2 is we want to do the cages. And for that we will need to kill a lot of trolls. Shouldn't be a big problem. Cage here, cage there, and what does the guide actually want us to do? You know, for once, I think today will be the day where I'm just going to follow the guide and will not complain about it always being suboptimal. We're just going to do what the guide is telling us to do. And I'll kill a couple of extras here and there. Like I said, the raid food is legitimately important, so I would want that would want to take the opportunity of farming XP and at the same time get my raid food, because reality is you really don't want to take raid food or need to farm raid food. So I end up buying it, and that sucks because it costs unnecessary amounts of gold, and raiding as it is already expensive enough. So these feathers, we need 15 of them. They are the owl beasts, which we're going to kill in a second, don't worry. In terms of quests, so we got those 2 quests. There is going to be a trade up here for the Feralis quest with all of the little material that we needed to take. So the guy did an excellent job in that regard, letting us collect all of the stuff in Feralis before we get here, because I think Rhapsody Kalimdor Cocktail has a follow-up quest, if I'm not completely wrong. And to get to that, you kind of need to do the previous quest. As you can see, lower 40s enemies, even without world buffs, not a huge challenge. Today I'm rocking dual deadly poisons, mainly because a lot of the enemies here aren't running away. And secondly, because since we're not having world buffs, I thought that would be the highest DPS that we could do. And we got a new Deadly Poison. This is Deadly Poison 2, and we got Deadly Poison 3 rocking already. So I kind of don't want to just sell the old stuff. That's the logic behind it. And as you can see, it procs relatively speaking often. So getting 2-3 stacks, no problemo. We even got 5 on the other guy. And when people are running away and they still have a dot ticking on them, that's extra damage. So there is a bit of logic behind it. Good. We're looking at the cages. This is our actual task here. So that's cage 1 and 2. These trolls drop necklaces, which you can use en masse also to just power level through. I would potentially rather sell them. I'm just getting a little bit more coin because it's not that much money, that much experience that you're getting. It's more kind of for the low 40s. Does any of those guys have execute? Yeah, the sculptors. Gotta be careful not to drop too low in hit points. Alright, we got another cage here, which is easy, and we got a lot of wildkin feathers. So let's take the feathers first, and then we're doing the cage. Fast forward for you guys. Good, last feather to be picked up. We are 15 out of 15. And now it's time to move up the hill, talk and get stuff sorted. As you can see, we are at 15 tender wolf meat, which is great. Got a couple of normal red wolf meat. Might be helpful for us to further increase our cooking, which is kind of hard stuck at 150 because I really haven't bought the cooking manual yet. But I think once we're past 150, I still have raptor eggs laying around, so that should not be a problem. Cool. So this one is done. We're now moving further and are getting the third cage. There's also a bit of a quest that the guide has not yet taken into consideration. The Skull Rock Ooze cleanup. But before we reach that, I think the guide first of all wants us to go back, trade in the quests, to get, after the Witherback cages, get the Altar of Zool, and get that quest done. That'll be an interesting one because there are 2 elite mobs up there. So that's not trivial, but we should be fine. Then there is a pickup quest, fair enough. And we've already finished the feathers, which the guide wants us to finish much later. Okay, so we're a little bit ahead. I wonder if there are any follow-ups on the right-hand side. I think there is. If I vaguely remember, besides the oozes, there was also a kill quest. There's definitely a Tenaris quest for the Violent Plume, which is kind of a poisonous mushroom that we could pick up, but we're not at that stage yet. So we will likely come back. However, one of the things that I did a bit off screen is Cortello's Riddle, and that would be a 14 slot back. Talking about which, I also found one, a Journeyman's Backpack. Might as well put that in here because people are rather buying Runecloth bags than Journeyman backpacks. So that's not bad. We're going to get the last cage, and I think then it's trade in time. As always, the guide assumes you just want to be here for a very short period of time, and once that period is over, by the way, I think we're just going with crippling poison. I have enough of that running away BS. So once that period is over, once you're no longer having greenish quests, the guide automatically moves you somewhere else. I don't like that too much, and I also don't think that that amount of traveling is healthy for your speed. So we're, as always, going to deviate a little bit from what the guide is saying. But I promised, I'm going to speak negatively about it. We're first of all following the guide, as long as it wants us, and then afterwards we're going to do the remaining quests.
Health warning.
Good. Last cage is here. I just cleared a little bit more than needed. Once we're done, what does the guide want us to do? Check the other cages, get troll necklaces, that's okay. Turn in troll necklaces for bounty, that's fine as well. Don't mind it. So we have already done all of that. Cool. Now it basically says turn in the cages, get Altar of Zul. We're going to do that. We're getting the Altar of Zul, then sack of rice, and the wildkin feathers we've already done. So I'd be curious, what are we doing after step 21? Turn in Altar of Zul and fly back to Ironforge. As if I would have called it. So it says Altar of Zul, then Thaddeus Grimshade, which might actually be an Ironforge. Then we do have Necrum's Medallion. Not sure where that was. Could have been Sulfurak, but could have also been, I don't know. Might be Sunken Temple, but 47 seems a little bit low for Sunken Temple. Anyways, it turns into a dungeon quest, which is a pretty high likelihood that we're not going to do it, because the only dungeon that I would want to do now, before like during this playthrough, is effectively doing Maraudon for the Threshblade. That's kind of a no-brainer because it is good enough. Just waiting for kind of someone looking for Princess run, so that I do not need to do a full quest run, because I don't think that I'll have the time for that. And once Maraudon is done, it's potentially only BRD for the Onyxia attunement quest. Maybe an LBRS. But yeah, that's the only thing before we're going for endgame dungeons. We are continuing more improved slice and dice. And now it's time to do the altar. And I would say once we're here, I would actually ride first to the Sack of Rye. Get that, then do the altar, then do Skull Rock cleanup, and then Cortellis Riddle. Well, by thinking about Cortellis Riddle, maybe we're not doing it, because there is still a photography of Gizrilla and a collection quest of booze, both which you can get in Tanaris and one you can get in Booty Bay. So we will need to come back to Hinterlands anyways, is the bottom line. Also for the mushroom and so on. So maybe we're actually following the guide for once and are going to Ironforge. The guide then wants us next to basically finish Badlands and get our nifty stopwatch. I concur with that. And there are a couple of Badlands quests I think that we still could be doing. So study of elemental rock. There is one more that we can do. Yeah. That was a nice paladin. We're shouting out thank you. A true friend in need. And also we need to get, by the way, the token, the, what's it called? Distress beacon. So that piece needs to happen as well. In this pond here, that's where we are typically finding the little mushroom. Good. Where's this sack of rye? It's maybe this there, but how do we pick it up if we don't have a quest? Thought it was a pure kind of random spawn pickup quest. It's interesting. I can definitely see something that looks like a sack of rye, but how do we pick it up? Never done that, obviously. Guide isn't really that great in telling us. Let's pretend that we have done the altar already. Loot the sack of rye on the ground. Okay, yeah, good. How is the question? How is the question? And the question is how? Well, no sack of rye for us. It's not clickable. Comment down below if you know how it's done. I for sure have no idea. But it seems to be like one of those repeatable quests, so I am not too concerned. This one here concerns me a little bit more because it is legitimately difficult. I'm starting to clear this out because this will be our escape route, exit plan. As a rogue, wait a second, we might just be able to stealth up there. Well, let's do the safe route. Just in case we're being spotted out, I don't want to run through a lot of casters, but then decide they are starting to cast. So we're just gonna do what I originally intended. Clear the zone. I like the extended slice and dice because I only need 1 point now and I get more than 10 seconds out of that, which is fantastic. Really good. Good. So all we need to do is we need to explore up here, which means as a rogue we might actually have the easiest time of our life. Unfortunately, these guys here are elites. There we go. Simple as that, and we're done. Cool. Now, are we doing the Skull Rogue cleanup? It is right next to us. It's a quest. And it doesn't hurt. Might as well do that. We haven't found the sack of rye. But with level 48 we can train new skills, so that's not bad. This here is wonderful. This is such a good grinding environment. I know that later we need to kill Albies and some of the Howlers, so that will be super good. For now, we're just going to go for these guys. Do a little slice and dice Reno. And then once we're done, we are going to trade in the Altar of Zu, and it's off to the Badlands. Gotta buy a bunch of stuff in order to do that, particularly the frost oil. Also pretty sure that not everything will be available. If I recall correctly, there's one quest where we need a blacksmithing bracer, and I have a hard time believing that that is available in the auction house. On a low population server, these things typically aren't there. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're cleaning this up. We're then flying back to Ironforge, and I like the idea. I mean, this is what the guide does. Nice, the macro. You're flying to Ironforge. We're trading in nothing. I was hoping that there would be at least one quest that we could trade in, but no, unfortunately not. So we're flying there, and then the Badlands aren't that far away from Ironforge. I would even argue once we're in the Badlands, might as well get the Searing Gorge flight point. That's an easy capture there. And Searing Gorge with level 48 is almost perfect. Guide is currently having us at 46 to 47, so I would assume it is putting another one level stand in there somewhere. But realistically, there isn't that much. I mean, Tanaris we can do, but I would like to do the next visit of Tanaris around level 49, 50 and just get that done. Because we've done most of the other Tanaris stuff already. And then there's a bit of Feralis, same deal though. I would rather be 49 in order to do that. So bottom line is, I think that the Badlands Searing Gorge idea is an excellent one. And then we do have Tanaris, Feralis and Hinterlands around level 50, where we just can do the remaining quests. I think that's a really good idea. Should do that, and I assume the guide will want us to do that as well. Good. I think we're fast forwarding this little ooze endeavor here. Not much is happening. We're killing all of the oozes and that's about it. So, fast forward for you. Alright, after a while we finally managed to finish the Skull Rogue cleanup, so we're now we have now 2 quests to trade in, and pretty much can then fly to Ironforge and do the Badlands stuff, which I'm looking forward to, because I personally like the nifty stopwatch. It's potentially the character class that needs it the least, because we do have sprint and on a really good cooldown on top of it. But in absence of other better trinkets at the moment, I think it's still a valuable item to have. You can always use a nifty, and it essentially gives us double sprint. It doesn't stack, but you can use the nifty and then the normal sprint, and that'll be almost 30 seconds of really high movement speed. So in case we therefore have a problem in one of the instances, besides vanishing the problem away, that will give us a huge head start, and likely with the trick of leaving the group and 30 seconds of quicker movement, I believe that it is unlikely that any of the enemies will catch up with us. So unless we are trapped somewhere like in Strat Baron, that will save us. Speaking of saving, got myself a flask of petrification. Can't use it yet because we're not 50, but that is kind of the 101 equipment. Also got myself 5 lips. All expensive stuff, but you don't want to lose a character. So, Skull Rock cleanup, done. Which did not have a follow-up, funnily enough. So we've just done a quest, which likely should have been done a little bit later according to the guide, but that's okay for me. We had 0 extra movement time, and I think that was sufficient. We're now moving to Ironforge. I'll do my skills there and a couple of other just logistics, and then we're off to the Badlands. So fast forward to that. Alright, we arrived in the Badlands, and our first task will not be an easy one, because we are going to fight the boss himself. There we are, Boss Thogran. If your name already includes boss, then that should mean something. We are gonna do slowing into deadly poison or other greater elixir and some stat food. We're not just going to charge in, that would be ridiculous. I know that you can split pull some of these guys. I just need an AoE damage, which again we don't have, none available. So I just need to kite a little bit. The problem is some of these guys do have, they are also relatively low, and I do have evasion, and I do have vanish if needed. So let's see, who's the one with a net? Worm Hunter. Can you guys for once please just look into that direction? Thank you. So we're going to zap Worm Hunter and go for the rest. Let's go. I have a couple of casters. My strategy, since they are so much lower level, is we're just gonna move slowly back, get the boss himself. Casters can't really cast if you are continuously moving back. Good, we're still in it. Let's chuck the health potion. They still have the second net, but as long as we're not extra pulling something, we should be fine. Adrenaline rush. Could have used that a bit earlier. The buzzard might add. Ah, that's a bit of a problem. And we're out of here.
Health warning. Health warning.
Could have killed them all, but not with a buzzard as an ad. What could I have done better? I think I could have used Adrenaline Rush with Blade Flurry at the beginning. Would have been more damage. Rest was okay. the nets are really a bit of a problem. Good. We're going to take the sign of Earth. Let's trade that in. There's still another quest down here, Solution of Doom, which we can take in a second. But before we're taking that, what's the follow-up here? Tremors of Earth. Was that an elite quest? I think it was, right? Yeah. Oh, I remember that. That's a nasty dragon that spawns. Not happening. It's one of those quests that can easily get you killed if you're not careful. We're going to follow the guide here. I'm not even sure if the guide wants us to do Solutions of Doom. I think it does not. It just wanted us to use to do the elementals down here, which I think we've already done. Solutions of Doom is outside of Uldaman. We could theoretically do a lot of the Uldaman Elite quests, and they are okay XP wise. But like I said, I don't want to do an Uldaman run, and doing them solo would potentially take a little bit too long. We bought quite a few items from the auctioneer. Overall spent like 4.5 gold pieces on it, which is even more, 5 gold pieces, because one of the items is frost oil, and frost oil is needed for Darmol tribute, so it's in high demand. Anathemas. Oh, that's bad news. Good. Coolon has prevail. Let's take that. Trade that in. Gyro what? Take that. Trade that in. And then we got Study of Elemental Rock. We also got Liquid Stone. Yes. And the follow-up. Got ourselves a couple of potions just in case when we need it. So that's not too bad. And why didn't the patterned bracers proc? They should have. We're going to use them. There we go, Anathemas. Could maybe take him if it was really coming to it, but I'd rather not. We're just going to do the rock binding down here. By now the elementals that we're fighting are pretty low level, like 42 to 44 is fine for us. And once that's done, we're going to trade it in, and I think we're okay then. What's like step 40? Then the guide wants us to go to Searing Gorge, which now it says 40 to after Badlands I think the guide changes to Searing Gorge, or it's just doing like 2-3 quests in Searing Gorge, get the flight point like I mentioned it. But I legitimately think that Searing Gorge would be a really good option as the next option. There are a couple of things in and around level 50 that's still outstanding, so once we're done here, Searing Gorge would be perfect. Then I already mentioned Feralis, Tenaris and Hinterlands, and there are a couple of final quests in Strangathorn, specifically quests around the elites there. So Bottle, the guide will not know about it because, or will know about it but not show it because I selected no elite quests. So the bottle, message in a bottle, as well as Mogrash, the guy at the harbor. Both of these are good quests, and if I get Buzzard Wings, then we can even do the follow-up of Mogrush. It's another giant, which is really easy. And that is almost like 7 or 8k per quest. So nearly 30k, which you can do in 10 minutes. But we definitely would need a group for that. Can't solo these guys. So greater rock elementals. I oftentimes do this too early because I want the nifty stopwatch, and as a consequence I find myself really hating my life, because this is a level 42 quest and the enemies can be up to 44. So it happened, admittedly it happened often enough, but I ended up fighting orange mobs here, and the elementals are pretty unforgiving, because the reality is they have a high armor class, they are immune to poison, they are immune to nature damage, which makes them hard to deal with. They deal quite a bit of damage for earth elementals, so I always found them tricky to deal with. None of the classes really likes them, and Rogue is not an exception. Maybe Warlocks, but certainly not as a Rogue. They can be tough. So we're doing a little bit of exposed armor, we're doing a lot of slicing and dicing. And that's really it. That's how we're going to deal with it. I do a lot of 1 point slice and dices because that's giving you 10 seconds already. The higher ones are not doubling that, but just adding a little bit of time. So you get a good bang for your buck for low level slice and dice. The higher ones go up to 20 seconds. That's not bad either. Kind of keeps it up the entire time. It's a bit hard to keep up all of the slice and dice and at the same time expose armor on them. Good. And as you can see, the drop rate, not great. That was my experience when I did the quest at the quote-unquote correct level. It's just you're sitting here forever, and if you're fighting enemies that take low amounts of damage and your special abilities don't work, and then they deal a lot of damage on top of it and they don't drop, it's frustrating. But it is the last step for the nifty stopwatch, and said stopwatch is definitely worth waiting for. So fast forward for you guys, although I haven't even displayed a single successful drop. Come on, 1. No. Anyways, fast forward until I got all of the 5. You will not believe what just happened. So we had 0 drops, and I'm not kidding you. The next 4 elementals all dropped a bracer, and then there was like 1 in between, and then another one. So 5 out of 6 elementals dropped the bracer, and I'm done. Okay. Talking about how the game realizes you're complaining and immediately fixes it. I should complain more often. I don't have enough gold. I don't level fast enough. The game has a weird way of quote unquote listening to your complaints. Yeah, let's stay away from anathemas. Good, we're trading it in. Finally, the nifty stopwatch that would make for a really nice addition. And then we're off into the Searing Gorge. We already have 25% in the level, and we barely did a couple of quests in the hinterlands. And remember, we dinged in the hinterlands, so that's already more than half a level, pretty much close to a level already. just by doing those few quests. So, and we're not done yet. Let's do this is going to be hard quest. He summons the end boss, which often... oh wait, forgot about it. Which oftentimes was a pretty difficult fight for me. Mainly because I did it so under-leveled, and then I think it's 45, that elemental. Good, this time we're starting with expose armor. Yeah, that was the right decision. A little bit of slice and dice on the back side of it. And that Guardian just hit the floor. We bodied him. Another nice 5,000 experience. So here we go. And look at that. Now we're at 30%. Yep. That was worth it. Not so much for the 5 gold that I spent in order to do the pre-quest, but overall it was worth it. Like the follow-ups and the Nifty itself, super good. 10 seconds there, plus our sprint is 15, right? Yeah, 60% on the sprint, 40% on the Nifty. It's not exactly a sprint. It's a sprint light with a bit of a shorter duration, but 40% is already plenty in order to get somewhere. Okay, so we're now going into the Searing Gorge. And if it was for me, I would potentially just do the Searing Gorge now. Like that would get us to 49, and maybe, just maybe, I'm actually doing that and will disregard the guide once again, because reality is this is now such a good timing actually. Yeah, the guide wants us to do the whole escort. I can already see that. The starter here, then the escort. That's okay, we can start with that. But I think since I'm going to do the Searing Gorge now, we might just end it here and do the Searing Gorge in the next episode. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really appreciate you, and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.